Alright, so we're taking a little break from the air compressor. Last Black Friday I got some new forks for my bike. They're the Fox Factory 38 to replace I had the base model Zeb, and they just don't have very good bottoming, so every jump I was hitting, the forks would just bottom out, and I added all the cones, and I can add a bunch more air pressure, but then the forks are really stiff. And I had the Fox 38s on my previous bike, and they were much nicer. But I've run into a few problems. The first one was the bike came with a giant crown. The Zeb had a 1.8 inch crown, which standard is 1.5, and the original is 1 1/8. So I had to make a bushing for the lower crown bearing, because it doesn't seem like anybody makes an adapter to go from 1.8 to 1.5. But anyways, I did all that. Right now I'm working on a caliper bracket, because I have a 220 rotor, and the forks come from the factory setup for a 180 millimeter rotor. So I could buy one of these for like $8, but I don't really like the design of them. And I was just doing some measurements. It doesn't seem like it really lines the caliper. The pads are curved with the rotor, and none of the ones that are available look like they would align the caliper or the pads with the rotor. So I drew one up in here. It's kind of based off of this guy that was on GrabCAD. It is completely different, but that's kind of what it's based on. So I kind of stiffened it up, or thickened it up, changed the angle, all that stuff. And this way, so the ones that are available to purchase, they go the opposite direction. They drop the caliper down. So basically this thing would be flipped, and then the caliper would be even lower to the ground. And I figure if I'm gonna make a bracket, it'd be nice to bring it up a little bit. So that's what I did. And I've got the rotor perfectly lined up with the pads, which I did get the caliper on GrabCAD. Somebody else designed it, and I didn't check it. So hopefully it looks like whoever did it did a pretty dang good job. So I'm assuming that they got all the angles and everything correct. Hopefully. If not, I'm not out too much time. Alright. So here is my setup. I'm just doing it out of some 1/2 inch 60/61. And I'm just going to do a 2D contour, and I'm going to leave these 4 tabs to hold it. Alright, so I was going to use this, I think it's a 5 flute maybe? I don't know. It works really good on steel, but I do have a 4 flute, so I'm going to use this guy. It's the only 4 flute 1/4 inch. What the freak is going on? Piece of crap. It's the only 4 flute end mill that I have that's 1/4 inch. I got like 6 of these freaking 5 flute deals. But this is a HTC tool carbide end mill. 1/4 by 1/4 by 1/2, 4 flute. Altin coating, whatever that is. I don't know. I usually just use whatever's in the machine at the time, but figured aluminum. This is a 2, 4, 5 flute. 5 flute's not good for aluminum, so I've been told. Who knows? Maybe it's fine. Okay, touched off, ready to go. So I haven't used the mill since I re-updated for the 3rd or 4th time. Trying to get it to work right. It hasn't, ever since I updated it, it hasn't been working right. The people who make Mach 4 say to use one version. The people who make the motion controller say to use the other version. So I've been switching back and forth, trying to figure out the combo that works. yeah, I haven't had time to really mess with it too much, so hopefully it works. I guess we're about to find out. Oh, yep, see, it's doing the thing where it just goes really slow. See how it's just eat, eat, eat. So yeah, that's not right. Piece of crap, man. So yeah, I'm gonna have to reset Mach 4. Alright, let's see if it works now. I reset Mach 4. Might need to turn the feed rate up, huh? Yeah, there we go. Now we're cooking. Maybe. Looks like it's kind of going. Oh, these are going to be pretty heavy passes. It's a 1/4 inch, or it's almost 1/4 of an inch step down, and then it's like the full width of the end mill. Whoa. Why is it shaking so much? Oh, there we go. Weird. It just didn't like that plunge. It just plunged 1/4 of an inch. I went really slow, but yeah, it still did not like that one bit. But she's chugging along now. Nice and easy like. Yeah, this will be a roughing pass, and then it'll go into the final dimension and do another pass, and then it'll step down, do another roughing pass, and then final dimension. I don't know if that makes sense. It was just an option in Fusion that I selected, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, we made it through, but it didn't go all the way through, and I even told it to break through like an extra 50 thou. So I must not have my Z just right. Must be just a little bit thicker in there or something. Maybe I'm using calipers. Yeah, 5/16, and we're at whatever I said we were. 5/10, so it should be almost all the way through. Really, really close. I guess I'll lower the quill another 15 thousandths, and we'll just run through it really fast. Alright, she is done. And we made it all the way through. Most of it. Nice. So, all we gotta do is these tabs. I'll hacksaw through them. And then file all the way around, do all the chamfers. Those tabs they're pretty thin, but man, the part is held pretty solid. See, I think they're like 125 maybe. Oh no, they're only about 60 thousandths. But yeah, the parts in there are pretty solid. Doesn't move when I push on it, so they did their job. So normally I would 3D print one of these and make sure it all fit, but I have a bunch of this 1/2 inch aluminum sitting around. We can give her a couple trial runs. All right, here she is. I just hacksawed those tabs. Then I'll hit them on the belt sander, belt grinder dealio. Do some chamfering and drilling some holes in. The surface finish, you can see once it got to the bottom. Oh no, this is the bottom. It was the top that had some of the chatter. Interesting. Yeah, anyways, once I get it all filed up, I'll bring it back. All right, so basically just gonna take and try to round all these edges over. Make it look nice. So what you can do if you want it to really look good is scribe all the way around, so you end up with an even chamfer all the way around. Maybe once it's gone, shown that it works, then I'll clean it up a little more and then anodize it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna I have a little round file. Yeah, I got this little guy. I bought a lot of files on eBay, like a lot of them. Somebody was retiring, and I guess the guy told me they were his dad's that passed away or something. But it was a bunch of like really small files, like smaller than this. This is a 6-inch or so. These are like 4-inch and they're like flexible. Alright, so finished filing up all the chamfers and then just ran it on the Scotch-Brite pad for a second, and she looks pretty good. So we're just gonna set it up in the mill and drill out a few holes there. Alright, here goes the drilling. Hopefully we got it everywhere. I think I got it all zeroed out. Yeah, see how much the drill started wobbling? I'm gonna have to go in with the center drill first. Alright, let's do our center drill. And our regular drill now. Got it started. And then these ones here are through holes, so we don't need to tap them. But I do still want to put a little chamfer on it while it's in here. Just like that. Alright, and so here's the original spacer. The new spacer is going to be bolted to the fork, and then the caliper bolts onto it. And I think our hold of center to center is 68. Or 74, sorry. Isn't it? Yeah, 74. So I'm just gonna go over 74 and not even run the program. Okay. And we will center hole now. Yeah, I was gonna do countersunk holes, but this is pretty thin already. It's not any thinner than the actual caliper itself, but it just seemed kind of thin. Alright, so the next step, I need to get this level with the vise, because these two faces are a different angle, and I want them drilled directly in. So I think I'm just gonna kind of snug the vise up just a tiny bit, so it holds it. Maybe. And then I'll take a parallel and and push it down. Like so. And now it should be square. Yeah, I just need to figure out how far from that hole this hole needs to be. So it's looking like these holes are 618 thousandths over. About, it's not exact because they're different angles and all that, but I'm just gonna go 618. Should be good. Just gotta find the center of this hole down here. See if that works. You guys probably can't see anything, so I'll see you once I get there. All right, there's 618. Let's see how that looks. Oh, freaking perfect. So these ones we gotta drill and tap for M6 by 1. So I gotta go grab a 5mm drill. All right, so this is about 3/4 of an inch thick, but there's an angle. I'm gonna try to drill it as far as I can without going all the way through, but if it does go all the way through, it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna set my quill DRO right there, and we're gonna go, let's just go for like 700 thousandths. Oh, yeah, we're all the way through. I guess that slope started a little sooner than I thought. Whoops. It doesn't really matter though. And the worst part of the whole thing. Put a little bit of lubrication on her. And send her on in. I just get it started with this. And then I'll take it out and switch to the tab handle. Yeah, that'll work. Alright. Without breaking it. Pretty good at breaking taps, so don't be too blown away if she snaps on us. Let's get some of those chips out of there. Even these cheap, this is just a cheap Amazon spiral flute tap, but man, they work a lot better than like the crappy Irwin ones that you can get at like Ace Hardware. I always used to buy those because they were just like the most expensive ones I could find. But man, they suck. Then I got these on Amazon for, I don't know, a couple nickels and a gumball or something. And man, they work way better. Kids they just got out of school for summer. They're having a pool party at our house. You gotta go and hide, otherwise I just stress out about everything getting destroyed by a bunch of teenagers. Not fun. I say that, I don't know if I mentioned if you guys could hear it, but yeah, they're singing something now. Alright, here she is. Looks kind of crappy right there where it popped through. Then over here, just started poking through. Let's see all the way through it. But yeah, let's go see if she fits. Well, I got an A caliper right here. This isn't the one off the bike, but oh yeah. Should fit. Oh, you guys can't see nothing. Hole. There's a little bit of adjustability side to side on these things. But yeah, let's go test fit her on the bike. Well, apparently the CAD drawing was slightly different. It's really close, and I can probably make it work. But it needs to go in. It's spaced out too far now. And I think it needs to go in, it looks like it needs to go in a little less than 1/4 inch, but then I'm almost hitting this bolt head. That's gonna be the real, that's gonna be the real issue, is it's almost touching that bolt. Yeah. So I could use a button head screw to get around that. Yeah, it was a good effort. I wanted to go ride today. I have an actual spacer ordered, because it was $8 and it comes with screws and everything, and I have screws, they're just, this one's too long and it doesn't match. And oh man, the ones it comes with, they're fancy looking screws is all. Yeah, I just need to take some measurements. I'm gonna measure from the top of the pad to the rotor and the bottom of the pad to the rotor. And then I'll determine if the angle is correct also. Yeah, I'm just gonna take some measurements, see what we need to do. All right, I got the caliper. I took off 100 thousandths. I had to modify the bolt. That's how the new ones are gonna look once they show up. So we got plenty of clearance, and by plenty I mean hardly any, but clearance is clearance. Yeah, these aren't the bolts I'm actually gonna use. It needs stainless hardware. But yeah, the whole rotor is inside of the pads, as you can see, maybe barely. Oops. Yeah, it's about perfect. And it's kind of nice because the ones that you can buy are opposite of this. So this, the caliper is brought up. The ones you can buy drop the caliper down, which I guess kind of brings it more in line with the axle. But I guess the problem I see with that is it's, when you're clamping on here, it's pulling upwards, right? Versus if you bring it up here higher, now it's pushing into the fork. So instead of getting pulled straight up, now the force is being pushed into the fork. So I think as far as like strength goes, this would be the stronger route in my eyes. I don't know if that's actually the case, but yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good to go. I'll let you guys know if it breaks off and I fly over the handlebars and die. Or, I mean, watch for my obituary, I guess. No, I should be fine, though. This is the bike. It's a Cannondale Moterra, which, if you're on the market, don't get a Cannondale. It has a Bosch motor, and my Levo has Specialized. It's kind of their own motor, but it's made by Brose, B-R-O-S-E. And I went through 3 of those motors last summer alone. So yeah, that's the wife's bike now. She can ride that. The Bosch motor is more durable, but man, this bike I'm not a fan. It's got this like internal cable routing, so the cables go into the headset. And at first I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, instead of going into the frame somewhere like a normal bike. But the problem is now it's like, if you ever want to change your stem height, you got to take all this crap apart. Cables go flying everywhere. And then it uses this giant bearing down here. So like, look how it kind of looks weird. It looks tiny relative to the frame. But this is the standard size. This is the original one. It's quite a bit bigger. But they don't make a bearing to go from giant down to normal size. So I had to make, you can kind of see the silver ring. It's kind of a top hat shaped bushing that goes over the fork's crown, and then the bearing goes over that. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just got a lot of like, all bikes have kind of proprietary stuff, but this thing is kind of above over the top. Even like the original front wheel, I had to buy a new used front wheel from somebody because that one has the wheel spacers for this fork, but they don't make wheel spacers to adapt that hub to this fork, so I had to buy a whole wheel. Like normally, like with this wheel, I can just pop those spacers out and put the other style of spacers for that fork in. It's just dumb. A lot of dumb stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, other than that, she's an okay bike. It's pretty heavy, but it's an e-bike, so heavy is not that big a deal. Plus it's got a place I can stick my phone right here, and the phone connects to the bike and gives you like your RPMs and all that. Plus it charges my phone. I like to go on like really long, just way up in the mountains as far as I can. Like carrying my bike over mountains half the time, but that's the kind of stuff I like to do. So being able to keep my phone charged and have my GPS going so I know where I am is a good thing. And then I've also got a de-restrictor thing. So normally these things top out at 20 miles an hour. This one tops out, I don't know, I don't think it ever tops out really. I've got it up to, I think 40, kind of going downhill, but yeah. Here's the rear rotor. Yeah, the brake pads stick above the rotor just a little bit. Yeah. And then a little spacer. I don't know, when the new spacers get here, I ordered 2 different kinds. They're pretty cheap. They should be here tomorrow, I think, I don't know. I'll see how it fits up here, see if it's any different, or otherwise, I think this will work. Keeps everything nice and up and out of the way. I just need the bolts for it. I'm not gonna mess with shortening the bolts that I have when I don't really have time to go today anyways. But yep, guess that's it. I guess next step, finish the freaking air compressor someday. It's been sitting here for a couple months now. I got this and I'm building a big chicken coop garden shed thing. I didn't film any of that, but that's kind of what I've been doing. That and work, lots of work lately. I was thinking about putting this big pump and motor on my old compressor instead of the one it came on, but yeah, I don't know. I don't want to have to weld on it. I don't know the precautions you're supposed to take when you're welding a tank, but this tank is a 175 PSI. This one's only 125, plus this one's a few gallons bigger and newer. Yep, all right, see you next time.